248. Who's this?
It's Albert.
Albert! Yo, where you been, man?
Working my ass off, dude.
Well, I'm glad that you're busy. Busy is good, but it's great to hear from you.
Yeah, same. So what do you think about us going to war with Syria and Iran?
I don't want to go to war with anybody. I think aside from that, the topic of tonight was the deal, how it was passed, and what was done to get it passed. And I don't like the deal at all, and I don't like the way it was used, the way that it was put through. Aside from that, I'm not advocating a war with anyone.
I know. I didn't ask you. I didn't think that you were advocating anything. I said, how do you feel about us going to war with them? Because that's where we're going. Well, I mean, if people don't see that, they're blind. That is exactly where we're going.
When do you expect there to be a war breaking out? Do you have an idea? If it's that in, because I've heard this. You're not the first one who's told me this on or off the air. But I just want to know if the writing is on the wall. Does anybody have an idea of when things are going to pop off? Because the second,
no, I don't think any. I don't think. I think there'll be a false flag or something like that. I mean, it's just like, when I was a teenager, people were like, Chrysler's down, and I was a kid then, and I was like, what is everybody talking about? Well, then, what happened? Chrysler bombed, and that's what happened. And we bombed Syria. I've been bitching about it in the chat for a while that, Trump bombed them with no evidence, bullshit evidence. We all know that. And now Netanyahu, brought up a bunch of 10-year-old shit, and we pulled out of the Iran deal. We are going to war with Syria. Mark my words. And then we're going to go to Iran, because that's where we're ruled by Israel. And that's just the way it is. I just don't understand how people don't see that.
I think that Israel is definitely a major player out there, and but like I said, as long as Israel and the GCC do whatever, if they want to go out there and do their own thing, then fine, let them do it. As long as we're not party to it, I really don't give a shit about what the hell.
But we are party to it, Frank.
That's fine. But once again, how do we get in bed?
We're not party to it.
Right. But how do we get in bed with them, or how do we get out of bed with them? It happens from the bottom. There's the only people who are ever going to be able to put the brakes on how our military is deployed is if the people at the bottom overwhelmingly know what they want from their representatives, and representatives go to represent them and make sure that war is not on the table. We're largely,
and that's why I say you're on point. That's why I say you're on point, because something, one thing that you keep coming back to, and I got to tell you, some of the David Seaman shit, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? But then, I reel myself back in, and I have to admit, you allow me to do that because you come on and you're like, okay, well, think about this, and you do give both sides of it. Because I hate David Seaman's guts, but the thing is you speak it and you say, look, well, here's this other view. Well, here's this other view, and I have to give credit to you because you've said it. I don't know, probably I can't count how many times, but more than several. It has to start with the fucking culture. And you hit the culture here, you hit the culture there, you give all sides, and you say, figure it out for your fucking self. So all I'm doing is coming back in and saying, people, figure it out for yourself. We have all Israelis in our government. We have our president who is in debt to the Israelis. We just bombed them for no reason. And now all of a sudden we're pulling out right after Netanyahu pulls out all this bullshit. Wake the fuck up, And you're right. It has to be a grassroots cultural thing. And I agree with you. And that's all I have to say about that. Thanks for your time, Frank.
No, thank you, Albert, and thank you for always calling in and being a compelling call.